All right, so we have Amanda Kesler and Katelyn Steed here from Europa Academy. Welcome, ladies. Good morning.
Good morning.
Tell us a little bit about Europa and what type of clients you serve.
So La Europa is a residential treatment center in Murray, Utah that focuses on using creativity and the arts to help with healing. And we work with a lot of kiddos that have depression and anxiety and lots of different types of trauma that they've experienced. We have kiddos that are high school age. All of our kiddos are assigned female at birth, but they have all sorts of identities that way. And we just open our doors to explore who they are and what works for them and help them figure out how to make their choices in their lives to be better than they were before.
Got it. Okay. One thing I didn't ask and I don't have on my list as I'm looking at these questions is kind of what your role there is. Europa. Maybe you can touch on that quickly.
Yeah, so I am the executive director, and I've been here for 10 years this year and 5 years as the executive director, and I'm also a licensed therapist.
Nice. And Katelyn?
I am the operations director, and I have been in this role for a few months, but also mainly for about 4 years, but I've been with La Europa for 8 years.
Okay.
And then I'm also the neurofeedback technician. So,
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So what kind of challenges were you seeing with your clients before you implemented neurofeedback?
We just increasingly had started seeing more and more kiddos with like ADHD and different types of neurodivergence, and also looking at like families were looking at something that would move the dial a little faster than maybe more traditional therapies. And then just kind of that idea where kids' brains were needing some help to slow down, to kind of get concepts a little faster. And a lot of our kids struggle with traditional therapy because they've done so much therapy that we are always, we do a lot of creativity and expressive arts, but we're always looking for other things because they get really burnt out on traditional therapy.
Okay, so that kind of ties into likely why you started looking into brain-based solutions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Just kind of talk therapy can only take you so far, and these kids have these stuck patterns, physical patterns in the brain.
Absolutely. And a lot of their stuff has started when they were younger and didn't have language. So, and we utilize expressive therapy so that they can access parts of their brain where language, it wasn't primarily there when stuff happened, but even that can only go so far and doesn't target certain parts of the brain. And so when we heard about neurofeedback and started looking into it, the idea of targeting certain parts of the brain and kind of having a more direct approach to it sounded like something that would just really benefit our kids.
Got it. Got it. And so then when you started looking into that, what stood out to you about our company, Symmetry Neuro-Pathway Training?
I think the thing that stood out the most is that it was a team effort. So it wasn't just like you guys coming in and doing everything. It was us being able to team with Symmetry. So having like Katelyn being able to be a technician with us who knows the kids and already has built a relationship with the kids. So we can have in-person, our employees being also technicians, and then partnering with Symmetry to do all the analysis and the data. And so it felt much more like a partnership than a separate setup. And that was really appealing to have that partnership.
Got it. Did you have some concerns or questions before getting started, or fears? I know bringing new elements into a program is not easy to manage with staff and students.
I think the concern was really just how do we weave it in? We already do a lot of stuff, so where do we schedule it? How do we get people on board with it? Kind of the logistical pieces of it. But we felt like we could really figure out getting people excited about it because we were excited about it. So it was really just kind of figuring out the logistics and how is this going to work and who's going to do it and where do we put it and that type of stuff.
Right, right. Do you remember now it's been a few years here, so do you
Yeah.
remember what the onboarding process looked like?
We kind of had a slow transition onboarding because we started with it being something optional that parents could pay for, have an additional cost, and that wasn't very well received by our parents. And so we had this set up. We had a technician through Symmetry actually at that time because it was we were just kind of getting introduced to it, and so it was kind of a slow onboarding just because we didn't have the interest from parents. And then as we continued to talk about wanting to make it more available, we decided to, in our next tuition raise, to account for that amount that would go towards the cost for the neurofeedback. So then it's now offered for everybody. And instead of asking parents to do more, it's just part of what we do now. And that really helped us kickstart everything, and things got moving a lot faster after that.
Yeah, that sounds like a big difference maker, and I always brag about how smart Amanda was at La Europa Academy for just building it in, because you
Yeah.
do have parents investing all of this money, and they're expecting you to already have all of the things, and you have
Yeah.
so many things. It's hard for them to validate, why do I have to pay more?
Mhm.
So a
And
program like that
yeah,
actually builds it in, it just flows so much easier. So
it's spreading it out across multiple months. The cost was pretty. It didn't even raise tuition by that much. It was just so it wasn't a huge jump in tuition. It was a pretty minor jump in tuition because we were able to spread it out across the average length of stay.
that's perfect. And so then as you build it into the program, what does it look like for one of your students throughout the week?
I'm gonna let Katelyn take that away because she is the boots on the ground person.
Okay. Um, yeah, so I'll have a student who gets started. We'll do the brain map, obviously, and then once the sessions are ready to go, I'll just meet with that student and ask them what days they want to meet. So 2 days a week, and that's just like scheduling. We're just trying to figure out what works best with their schedule, with like the therapy that they have in school and everything like that. So I kind of try and figure out what time works best for them and me. And so right now I'm meeting with students in the morning. It just works best for them. And so I'll grab 2 students one day and then we'll go in, I'll get them set up, and then we'll have our neurofeedback session like a normal one. And then I'll meet with each student twice a week. And then we just got actually new technicians going, and so
Nice.
which is great. So we can get more students going, just because scheduling is a little more difficult around here. And so we're gonna start doing like evenings, weekends, just like way more
Oh,
times
that's
that's
great.
available, to hopefully, yeah, get more students active at the same time. Because right now we only have like a few students. So
Yeah,
and some students are ready to go. They're excited to get started. And so I'm glad that we have more technicians to get them going.
that's great. So about how long is the session when you bring them in?
So during the actual like neurofeedback session, it's 30 minutes of like active time. And then occasionally they'll do like the Bobo board, which is about 10, 15 minutes. Kind of depends on how long they can go without getting bored. And then, so it's about like a 45-minute session total.
Okay, nice. So the Bobo is a little bit of a physical balancing tool that you use in conjunction with the neurofeedback, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. So how did your staff respond to implementing neurofeedback into the program? You can be honest. Please be honest.
Oh, um, it was just really curiosity. Like a lot
Okay.
of people are like, what is this? What do they do? What does it look like? It hasn't been too staff intensive because we have Katelyn and our 2 new technicians just go and pick up the kids and bring them. Probably the most staff intensive part is making sure they wash their hair or don't use conditioner or whatever it is that the
Right.
thing is when they're doing their brain map. And then our clinical team fills out assessments
Okay.
when the kiddo starts, and then every week there's an assessment. And getting that kind of in routine I think this, the more kids we have doing it, the easier it is for clinicians to remember to fill out those assessments. Katelyn does a great job of sending us an email update to do it, and then we just have to make sure that we're getting those done, because it's really helpful to have the clinician assessment of how things are going week to week, as well as tracking the targets that we have.
That's great. That's great. I kind of asked that question too, because I remember the first program I set up in, I was this mom that just came in there and started pulling kids out of the other elements of their program. I got a little resistance from the staff. They're like, what's going on? You know, but you guys.
Probably the biggest resistance we got is we were pulling them out of school initially. And there's just so many different reasons kids get pulled out of school, like clinic, you know, their therapy groups, if they have a doctor's appointment or different stuff like that. So we kind of then just moved the schedule to be like before school or during lunch, and then bringing on some technicians who they work here at other roles as well, and they're doing extra hours. So bringing in evenings and weekends just to help so that we're not, so the kids are in class, it's not interrupting their class time, and it's more, you know, they have downtime and a little more downtime evenings and weekends. So it's not pulling them away from some of the critical things that they need to do. We see this as a very critical thing to do, and kind of balancing out all the different things. So I think that's actually, I had kind of forgotten that was our early resistance.
Yeah.
And we had spent a lot of time figuring out when to put it, that it would be, that everybody felt like they weren't having their time compromised with.
Right, right. Yeah. I know with my son, it was like he wasn't doing schoolwork anyways. So, and I was the mom. So it's like I'm pulling him out of math class because he's not doing that. So I was okay with that. But yeah, it was different in getting the staff to understand if we regulate their brain, they're going to participate more in the elements.
Yeah.
So, what kind of changes did you start to see in the clients that were participating in neurofeedback?
Honestly, the biggest change has been just like the best way. Me and Katelyn were talking about this, like how to describe it. They just seem to like settle, and you know, kids that have really fast brain moving, whether it's for ADHD or anxiety or whatever it might be, their brains are so rapid, just seem to be starting, you know, after they've done not even completed neurofeedback, but partway through, you just start noticing a settling of, that's just the best way I can describe it, is that they're just settled more and they can focus a little more. They, you know, are a little, they can engage more in class or in school. They're not, you know, multitasking as much. And there's, just a settling, the best phrase that I have for it.
Katelyn, did you have anything to add to that? Like a settling engagement or?
I think, just like the, getting the students more into like the rhythm of the program. I think it just helps them like, and I think it helps like starting it in the morning, like having them start the day with neurofeedback. They're able to just kind of like, I don't know, get that session in, and they're just more ready for the day. I think one of our students actually just this week was telling me about their experience with neurofeedback, and they were saying before neurofeedback, there's someone who, while they're watching TV or doing something, they have to be doing like a bunch of different things at the same time. And so she was telling me, she's like, since I've been doing neurofeedback, she's like, when I watch TV, I can only watch TV now. And so she's only like focused on one thing, which I thought was cool. So,
nice. Do you think the staff started to notice the kids that had started neurofeedback versus not? Did you ever get any feedback from them?
I haven't, but
I haven't directly, but I think that the kids will talk about it. Like we've had kids, because we just brought on our 2 other technicians, so we have a wait list right now of kids that are starting to move through. And there were kids going up to me or to Katelyn, when do I get to start neurofeedback? When am I starting neurofeedback? So I think the kids notice it more and they get excited about it. Some kids are not interested in it. And in which me and Katelyn are like scratch our heads, like, why? You get to go watch a show, you know, like I want to do it. And then other kids just are so excited about it, and they're so interested in the results and what does my brain map say, and you know, that kind of stuff. So I think that there's an energy around it. And as we get a better rhythm now where we have multiple people helping get the sessions going, I think even more kids are going to be excited to do it.
Nice. Do you have any specific kind of memorable client success story that stands out to you?
There's one actually right now. She's been with us for a while, and she was one that was really excited to start neurofeedback and would bug Katelyn on a regular basis about when it was going to be her turn. And so she started this in January, and the biggest thing that I've noticed is that so she's somebody that I'm working with, and the biggest thing that I've noticed is that she is able to have hard conversations and stay more regulated. Like in family therapy, she's talking about some hard stuff, and you see the emotion is there, but it's not flooding her as much, and she's able to stay focused on the conversation more. And she's more relaxed with things. She's not making the same impulsive choices. One of the targets for her neurofeedback is impulsivity, and her impulsivity has gone way down.
Wow.
To
Nice.
the point where she's making progress that she kept getting in her own way before with her impulsive choices, and now she's moving pretty rapidly right now through different things because she's not getting in her own way.
Nice. That's awesome. From a business standpoint and marketing standpoint, you guys have been thriving with enrollments during a very difficult time with
Yeah,
the therapeutic industry. How do you feel that neurofeedback may have contributed to that?
I think it helps to be able to say we do different things, and here's the evidence-based things that we do. Because like I said before, kids and even sometimes families are worn out a lot of the times by the time they get to this level of care. They've done outpatient and they've done PHP. Some of them have done short term, some of them have done wilderness. And so they're kind of all tired and wondering what is going to work, and being able to offer this as another option that is just part of what we do. And it's not something that it's not hard for the kids. And there's so many
Right.
things about treatment that are hard, but going to neurofeedback and getting to pick a show to watch in a comfy chair is not hard, and it is very helpful. And so I think it's really appealing to say, here's the thing that your kid just gets to kind of relax and enjoy, and it doesn't feel like work, but they're doing a lot, their brain is doing a lot of work, but they don't notice that they're doing a lot of work. They're just watching a show and
Right.
relaxing in a comfy chair.
Nice. I love that. That's so true. It became the favorite place in that program that I was at.
Yeah.
That's nice. So what would you say to other programs or clinics that are considering adding neurofeedback?
I would say number one, don't plan for it to be an extra cost to families. Just make it part of the overall tuition or enrollment. I think also if you can have more than one technician, to have flexibility in scheduling, depending on how intensive the regular schedule for the students are, having that flexibility with multiple technicians is, I'm really excited for that now that they're trained and onboarded. Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just don't try to make it extra, just make it part of the program, make it part of the all-inclusive rates, and offer it to everybody that wants it.
Right. Is there anything that surprised you about implementing the symmetry neuropathway training?
I think the biggest surprise is that some kids don't want to do it.
Right, like you said, I want to do it.
That's probably the biggest surprise.
Okay.
I think also for me, it was surprising just how easy it is.
Okay.
And me and Katelyn can talk more about that, but it's a very simple process to get going, and we're not specialists by any means. And so, all the things that Symmetry does with the reports and the um, hours to talk about things, like you guys just make it so easy. It's simple for us to implement it on our end.
Nice. Is there anything you wanted to add to that, Katelyn? Or
Yeah, just like the simplicity of it and going in and doing like the trainings. I was a little nervous. I was like, this is like working with the brain kind of. I was like, am I gonna have to, I don't know, learn a bunch of stuff? But it's like really easy. And once you get into a rhythm, it's like even easier. And it's nice to have support, like if something is going wrong or off, or like I have questions, it's really nice to have the support of like Britt or Katie at Symmetry to be available and to answer. And they're super helpful. And so that's been nice just through the whole process too. So
there is a fear around bringing it in and having to learn it, and how do I interpret a map, and this is somebody's brain, and I still sense that from doctors, from level, physicians to everybody, and then we come in for the training and there's such an excitement, enthusiasm, and a relief, so that's great. I think you already answered this one, Amanda. If you had to do it again, what would you tell yourself at the beginning? You shared some of that about building it in, and
yeah, that would be it. Build it into tuition right up front instead of trying to make it extra and have multiple technicians.
yeah. So I'm going to ask just another kind of closing question, and then I want to hear what's new and exciting or upcoming at La Europa. But right at this point, how do you see brain-based approaches like affecting the future of the therapeutic education and programming world?
I think it's vital to keep doing brain-based things. I think we're just learning more and more about how the brain is impacted by trauma, by, all sorts of things around, like just all the external things that happen impact the brain so heavily, and recognizing that talk therapy can only get you so far, and brain-based interventions are going to move the dial in a different way than talk therapy can. So I think the more that we bring in the brain, the body, along with the feelings and emotions and processing the experiences, it just makes for a more whole human approach. And the brain is, it is still a mystery to so many pieces of it are a mystery. And just the more that we can explore how to use targeted brain interventions, I think is just going to benefit humans in the future.
I love that. Cool. So what's new and exciting and happening at La Europa?
Yeah, we got some good stuff coming up. So we, every summer we go to the Shakespeare Festival in Cedar City. So we've got that scheduled and planned, take our kids to go see Shakespeare plays. They get to do some behind the scenes things and learn about the art around it, the scenery, that's not fashion, that's not the right word, the outfits.
Oh, yeah.
Costume.
Yes.
And then we've got our next Europe trip coming up. We're calling it La Europa Goes to Europe. So we went last fall and we're going again this fall. We're going to be focusing in Spain. And we have the opportunity to take kids to just explore places in Europe that some of our places on campus are themed after. So we're going to Barcelona and Madrid and just getting to explore Europe as we embrace the art and culture of what our namesake is with La Europa. And then just continuing to do awesome work with expressives and individualizing things for kids, and just helping them figure out who they are and blossom and grow.
Nice. We'll obviously put your contact info, wherever we post this, but what would you say is the best way for people to find out more about La Europa or contact you?
So the best ways, we've got our website, Europaacademy.com, and then reaching out to Iris or Nolan on our admissions team at admissions@LaEuropa.com.
All right, excellent. Anything you guys want to add that we missed or I missed?
I don't think so.
We're all good.
I think the biggest thing is I just really appreciate the partnership. I think that, like, when I see you at conferences or talk with other people that are asking about neurofeedback, I think Symmetry just does a great job with partnership and helping us feel supported in what we do.
Thank you. I appreciate it. As you know, my heart is in the therapeutic industry, where my kiddo got kicked in and out of many, many programs. So I sympathize for you guys. I want to support you. I know it is not an easy mission to be a part of, but it's so vital and important, and we have to continue to grow it and make these programs available for our youth,
Yep.
So
I would love for there not to be a need, but there is a need.
Yep, for sure. Well, thank you so much for taking your time out to chat with us, and I truly appreciate it. Have a great rest of your, well, I guess weekend or whatever. And we'll see you at the next conference.
Yeah, you too.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.